my journey. First off, wrist strap for GoPro camera again. Headlamp. Additional flashlight. Pack of glow sticks. Emergency blanket. Several emergency rain ponchos. Gerber canteen. As well as a nice knife. Alright, at the beginning of this trail, before we even get on it, there is a post sign that says Millville Lock, Millville, Mass. And what it details is the canal's rise and fall. As we start the trail, you'll notice that at this point there is a gate. Off-road vehicles are not allowed, but on this particular trail, I have seen them multiple times. They are usually very respectful. There are some side trails on this side that are not on the map that people do ride on, so that is something you want to be aware of. This is going to be the first in a three-part series of the remaining locks on the Blackstone Canal section. When it was originally created, the Blackstone Canal ran from Providence, Rhode Island to Worcester, Mass. And there was between 400 to 500 foot increase in the water level for that stretch, so I believe it was 49 locks were put in that were used to raise and lower the ships. Of those locks, only 3 can be seen today, and this one, the Millville lock, is the best preserved. When you walk on the trail, it's fairly well packed. You're not going to have much of a problem getting through here, navigating. It's a little bit wet today because it did rain heavily last night, but it's a very easy trail, and it's pretty much a straight shot, as you can see. I'm not sure if this is visible right now, but a little bit further down the trail I've gone, and what I'm looking at on my phone here is actually a geocache. Multiple trails around this area have many of these to find, so another bonus if you are a hiker or you enjoy the geocaching style game. Okay, so as we make our way down the main trail here, what you're going to see off to our left hand side is going to be a post that says the number 14 on it. This is a DCR marking post. It's a little bit roughed up, it's been hit with stuff. It looks to be aluminum. On that post there's a trail. Following this trail will lead us to the Millville Lock. As you can see, as we get down the path a little bit, it is summer, so things are growing over, but it is still fairly well used, so you're not going to have much to dodge. And as always, when you're in the woods, you want to be aware of different regulations in the area, such as in DCR land, this included, hunting is allowed in Massachusetts. There is no hunting on Sundays, so if that's a concern, Sunday would be the day to go. But it can be a little bit more busy with people doing that. I strongly suggest wearing one of these. It's a bright orange vest that hunters generally wear. You can get them very cheap. Walmart, anything like that. Like I said, you can tell it was raining last night. There's some puddles in my way. This trail is generally pretty safe from hunters because it runs behind a series of houses, and mass hunting regulations do restrict hunting this close to dwellings unless you have written permission from the owner. And as it's just a row of houses that go along one side of the trail, you're usually pretty good till you get down towards the end. And quite frankly, I haven't seen any hunters on this trail yet, so you're probably safe in regards to hunters on this trail. And once again, it's opening up, so you can tell that the trail is well used and maintained, as all DCR trails are. The walk itself. The trail is loose gravel rocks, generally a little bit golf ball size to smaller. So you want to watch where you're walking, you don't want to slide. As we get closer to the lock, it's going to bring us back to dirt and roots. Now ahead of me, there is a body of water. That is the Blackstone River. If you follow the river left to right, which is the flow of the river, going down to Providence ways, you're going to encounter an area from one of our previous videos, which is the Blackstone Gorge. It's probably half mile, 3/4 of a mile that way. I'm actually going down some steps here. They have a place for a throw-in or a stop. That's up towards Worcester. And that way past the bridge is on the way down towards Providence. And if I turn this way, numerous along the shore to a little pull off a brook and up to the Millville walk. Okay, so now that we've seen the bit of the river, here's the brook that I was talking about earlier. There's a little wooden bridge that crosses it, and as you can see right there, there's one portion of the Millville Lock. There's a path that runs up this side and the other side. This side's a bit overgrown with thorns, so I'm going to go this way over some raised water, and this is the lock itself. As you can see, it's starting to get grown in, a little flooded, swampy, meaning the mosquitoes are much more active in this area. And as you can see, the doors are completely gone. That's not surprising, as their metal would be, or even the wood, if they were wood at one point, would be useful in construction when the lock system came out of use due to trains. I'm going up the side, get you a better view. Right now, because of the vegetation, it's a little overgrown. Right now I'm standing on one of the lock walls. Down into the lock. This is the best preserved lock out of the three that remain. The three that remain are this lock, the Millville lock, as you can see. Nice and long. You can walk down there, you can actually see right here. It's a little bit filled with gunk right now. Points where doors would be secured and such. This is the Millville lock. The two other locks that are still accessible are the Goat Hill lock, which is on the Goat Hill trail down in Uxbridge, as well as the Skull Rock lock, which is on a trail down in Uxbridge as well. Out of the two remaining locks that we've yet to visit, the Goat Hill lock is in much better shape. The Skull Rock lock is actually all in pieces. If you see these big chunks of rock, it's all collapsed in. It would never, ever be functional again. I don't believe this one could either, quite yet, to be honest with you, but it could possibly be brought back at some point, if needed. The main infrastructure is still here. Alright, I am now heading back up the trail from the lock to the main path, the flat straight one. And I just wanted to give you a better view of this trail down. I'm at the bottom portion right now, and up ahead you can see the transition to the more gravel sized stone, a little bigger than gravel actually. It is prime example, like I said, about, I want to say, some golf ball size, some smaller, and this leads all the way back up to the main trail. A little bit of an incline, not bad, still very family friendly. Okay, back up from the Millville walk. I'm going to continue our path down this straight trail here. And what you're going to see is known as the Triad Bridges. In the past, there were 3 trains that ran along this area. The path we're actually walking on is where an old railroad used to be. As we're getting closer to the end here, you will see the bridge. And this bridge that we're going on is no longer active. And if you look down to the right when we get to the bridge, I will show you. There is some old pilings for the original bridge, for another bridge, I will say, that is part of the SNET Trail Network. Now the SNET Trail Network came about, I believe it goes down from Woonsocket and then up north quite a ways, I'm not entirely sure how far, was originally going to be a set of train tracks. There was a very wealthy man that was building the train tracks. Construction started at some point before 1912, but the businessman building the train tracks actually went down with the Titanic, so it became, in his honor, I guess, a trail for hiking, and it goes a fair amount. You could spend several days hiking on it, something that I will be doing with my hiking partner Ryan in the fall. But right now we're almost to the end of the trail. Let me explain the third and final train bridge on the Triad Bridge section. The third bridge is actually still active. It follows and goes to those tracks we crossed earlier. And it is part of the Providence-Worcester rail line. They still run trains there several times a day. And they run from Providence, Rhode Island up to Worcester, Massachusetts, transporting goods, fuel, whatever may be. So down below here you can see a path that actually leads down to the railroad bridge you can see in front of me. It's an old iron bridge. You can see it's rusted over. That is still the active bridge used by the Providence-Worcester rail line. I'm not going to go down this path because around that bend it's very loose packed, very slippery, and it's hazardous on the best of days. As it's been raining, I don't believe it's going to be safe to go down there. What you see in front of you is one of the unused bridges. This is the second bridge in the Triad Bridge. The previous one I just mentioned is the first. I have had many friends that have walked across this bridge. Once again, iron construction. Appears to be in solid shape. I know people have walked across, climbed across the edge over there. I am not a fan of heights. It's probably about 50 feet to the riverbed below, and Blackstone River is not the cleanest river in the world. It's been cleaned up quite a bit in recent history, but I still wouldn't want to fall 50 feet into it. I would probably be severely injured and have to find my way out. Now, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to get it down there past those trees. There are a couple of concrete blocks. There's a matching set on the other side of the river. These were to hold the third bridge that links up to the SNET Trail, S-N-E-T-T, SNET. That is the set of tracks that was going to be used, that the project was abandoned when the businessman financing it and starting and completing the project died on the Titanic. Now, As I'm walking back here, you can see this is the end of the trail, a little bit of a circle. You can see dirt bikes or four-wheelers have gone through here. Right back to where I was, there is a chain link fence. Over the years, people have gone over it, knocked it down, so you can access the edge of the bridge. You can walk across it if you want. Like I said, I've known multiple people that have, but I will not be held responsible for any injuries that may occur, and you need to remember to be careful, use common sense, think safe.